IVM.
Alright, Simplified is where they take stories that you can't understand and make it even more difficult to understand. If you need that in your life, it's called marriage. Simplified, 3 young men with a mission. Their names, Chuck, Naren and Sriket. That's right, simplify their names first. Simplify. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app or wherever you get your podcast from. Alright, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Okay, here on Cyrus Says, we try to get Hans Christian Andersen because we want a writer finally on a podcast of ours, but he's dead. So we're getting Vrushali Telang, a writer and a lady who actually worked in MTV and survived 4.5 years with me. Cyrus Says.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, here on Cyrus Says, as we record this, $90 batting is petrol and 78.7 diesel. My car is diesel, but that means it'll soon catch up with petrol. But I've got a solution to all this. I've decided that I'm going to buy my son a petrol pump. Because I think I can't afford petrol by 2021. But if you have our own petrol pump, that could be a future. You know, people will say, wow, petrol pump owner, and everyone will come and meet you. It'll be a great thing. So, petrol pump is the future, not petrol so much. It's called Cyrus Says.
And that's what Cyrus says.
All right, here on Cyrus Says, we meet a person, and this always fascinates me with French people who have it. Like their name is actually, let's say, Armand, but they don't say the A, so it's like Armand. You spend half an hour to understand that name. And in India, you have names like, say, Rishikesh with an H. And I've always, for me, phonetically, I just get very challenged by that. So when someone says
Rishikesh.
Yeah, but the H is like almost not there.
Yeah,
so when you say
like Rishik.
Yeah.
Rishikesh.
Thank you, Vrushali. And so whenever I have this extra letter, I've always spent half an hour. I can't get my mind, I'm a very petty, shallow and small-minded person, and I can't think of anything else. I'm like, but why do they have the extra letter there? Why can't it just be Vrushali with an R?
But it is Vrushali, it's not Vrushali.
Then I've been calling it the wrong name. Why do you respond? You should never have responded. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Her name is Vrushali. Is that correct?
Vrushali.
Vrushali. Surname is Telang, which means you're Tibetan. No, I'm just kidding. You're Maharashtrian from Prabhadevi, as far as I remember.
Dadar, yeah, and Bandra.
Okay, let me not fool my listeners. There are 8-9 of them, and it's all like family. We go back a long way, Vrushali and me. We used to work in a lovely company called Music Television, when they actually played music occasionally. This was back in, 2003.
2002 to 2005.
It's almost like the Indo-China War or something, 2002 to 2006. Vrushali and Cyrus. Vrushali. By the way, I'm Cyrus with nothing in front or behind. No pun intended. It's true. Just a stupid name. Sounds the same. Can't even get into it. Vrushali, we're going to talk about your life. This is what you obviously have never heard of our podcast or ever listened to any, and rightfully so. I can tell from... Take your time. Take 5 minutes. Absorb that. That's fine. Hey, we don't... This is not a show where we can get insulted much, so don't worry.
So sorry. No. It's just that, podcasts...
You don't need to respond to that.
Sorry.
I'm just trying to tell you in 3 words that the whole thing is we try to get interesting people on the show and just talk to them. All right? So it's not about, Bollywood's most famous son. If I wanted that, I'd call my good actor friend Gopal Dutt, who's actually sitting in the studio right now and with his feet on the chair, which tells you something. Back to you, Vrushali. So this whole thing it's like a biopic without any video. All right, so it's an audio biopic. So we go into your life, and we are researchers. We have Abbas, who's 40 years in RAW, so he knows his research, and we get interesting tidbits and stories and all, and embarrassing moments like boyfriends from the past, and when you had your first acne attack, and all those things are recorded.
This is fun. This is so much fun.
It's fun, and then we use it, and it's like power in our hands, and then we can exploit it. Now, if that's a metaphor to anything around you, go ahead. But we'll start with you now. Before we get into MTV. Vrushali, let's go in like a progressive order so we understand. You are today a writer.
Yeah.
That's what you do now.
Correct.
You're on novel number 3.
Yes.
You've been completely bitten by the writing bug. But it wasn't like that right in the beginning. So let's rewind a little bit to your school and college days. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I've always been a Bombay person.
Okay, listen, I like to talk more on this show.
Okay.
So after I ask the question, I may answer it. So please understand that's part of the way we work. Don't take it badly. All right, go ahead. You're a Bombay person.
Yeah.
That means you were born before it became Mumbai.
Correct.
Just like my parents.
Absolutely. So, actually, so basically I've always lived in that bay, that Mahim Bay.
Yeah.
So, Bandra, Mahim is
the
where
tri-state area. Is that
Mahim is where I studied. And Worli is where I worked. So it was completely in the bay.
Right.
And so...
Why would you answer this through geography? I don't understand. I try to set this up as a great interview about a person, a rising star in the literary world. So I'm going to switch careers, which is
No, you asked me where was I born and stuff like that. So, so Bandra and then Mahim and then I worked
So now you're taking us to a tour of mid-central Mumbai?
Okay, because I'm a Bombay lover. I'm like very passionate about the city.
Really?
Yeah, I love it.
I hate the city.
I love it.
Oh, we can just talk about that for the next 1 hour. I hate it so much I can't tell you. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why and you'll cry. Shall I tell you why? Because you will cry. I got up on Visarjan Day. At 5:15 as usual, touched my toes. That's because I'm short. But that's not the point. I got into the car and left for the gym in the morning, as I normally do. At 6:10, I couldn't move. I was in the middle of Marine Drive and the Visarjan was at its highest. I mean, what's going on with the infrastructure around us? But that's not my problem, it took a little longer. You have to grin and bear it. We are all living in the same country. That's fine.
The city has a lot of problems. The city has a lot of problems. I agree with it, but I think it's the best place to live in India.
Okay, 1 second. We'll come to that. Then I moved a little forward on Marine Drive after 15 minutes of torture because men in bikes, not very spiritual from any angle, but men in bikes smelling of alcohol. I don't know how much Ganpati Bappa they were doing, frankly speaking. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Just riding on the one-ways, through you, off you, killing people, whatever. I mean, it's just a bunch of louts after some time, okay? You're not looking at any spiritual salvation from any angle. Then as I go forward, there's a Nakabandi.
For what?
Call your beautiful city, talk to it. Go on, call up your city. Who do you want to talk to? Home Minister? I'll get you numbers. Let me tell you, I asked the cop, I said, kya kar rahe hai? Aur taklief dega humko. Hey, jao. Of course, poor guy must have been tired of a 48 hours of bandobast without a break. But my point is, what's the point of that Nakabandi? Who are you going to arrest? People are here to immerse. You're really not going to arrest anyone. What are you going to do? Hey, helmet nahi pehna. There are 50,000 people on Marine Drive and they're all going in different directions and you're worried about helmet? So, I don't know.
The city has its problems, but where else would you want to live in India, if not
Me?
here? Yeah.
Oh, there's so many places I'd love to live in.
Like?
I'd like Sector 14 in Chandigarh. There was a beautiful girl called Sonu. She might be married now. Sonu, agar aap hai to, and you're not married, give us a shout. Now, don't actually shout because we won't hear you. By shout, we mean, right into us. Yeah, look, I get you. I get what you're saying. It's a love-hate thing. I also love the city in some depraved ways, like your wife. Or at least like my wife. You can't leave her, but she beats you a lot. As you can see the mark on my above my eye.
Actually, there is a mark.
Yeah, she punched me. My wife's into what's it called? Mixed martial arts. Not S&M. We've gone beyond that. You're still having sex with your husband. Us is only fighting.
Well, so I'm just still having sex. Let's just say
you're
that.
an early marriage person. After some
14
time...
years.
Yeah,
so
we're 17. After 16, it all changes. It's purely like Shaolin. You just get your degrees, how much have you learned and all that. It's like that. Yeah, so where were we? So you love the city. Go on, I'll give you 2 minutes to love your city.
No, forget that.
So lovely
okay,
so... No, go on, but before we talk about you, how lovely is your city? Tell me 5 virtuous things about this bloody city that you love. And action. And the clock is ticking, Vrushali.
Bollywood. Cricket.
Shall I vomit now? So how many Mumbaikars are in our team? We have Rahane, who's in the fringe of the test team at the moment. And how many else are there?
So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that, you don't like the city? I think it's the best place to live in.
It's crumbling. It takes
totally. I agree.
I work in a place called Parel, which is now in the top 5 worst places since Hiroshima and Nagasaki after you know what happened. Not dangerous. You can't leave. You don't go anywhere. We leave in the middle of the afternoon thinking that, it's a lovely place to leave and we don't move. We could soon be statues. Just people that live there and don't move. It's painful. There's too much pain. You're not feeling the pain because you're a writer. You sit in your air-conditioned room and hit your computer and have a lot of fun and take a break and watch Netflix. But what about us? I'm a salesperson. I have to go and sell products. Those shampoos don't sell on their own. Let's talk more about you. I'll just keep talking rubbish. Okay, back to you. So you love the city?
Okay.
That's why you gave us a guided tour of bloody Mahim and Worli. Like we're all dying to see it again. I don't know. Don't say this to Mumbai girls. There's somebody in Delhi will be, bahut badhiya, sir. Mahim, Worli, sounds beautiful.
Okay. So what was the question?
I want to go back because I know you're sorry somewhat in the sense that since you came to MTV and took a job at less money. But let's look at your life in school and college because before becoming a writer, writer. And imagine now a lot of people want to be things like stand-up comedians, things like writers. I'm equating them in the same breath. But these kind of things in our generation were absolutely no. You would not. First, there was no such thing as a comedian. You would be called a joker and you'd be a loser who's on drugs. Who would be, that's his beta joker hai, drugs pe. And that kind of thing. So now the world has changed in the last few years and these are very acceptable things. Let's go back to Vrushali as a young girl and see what was in her mind. Do you have any memory of school and what you wanted to do?
I have this crazy memory of school and so, I went to Bombay Scottish and we in the...
Oh, you elitist. That's why you love Mumbai.
You went to
Bombay Scottish.
You went to Cathedral.
I was forced to. I didn't want to.
You were in Cathedral.
I want to go to Don Bosco. I wanted to play cricket for Mumbai and then India like Ravi Shastri, but I didn't get a chance.
Okay, so I was, so we were in the 10th and we had something called as, you remember we had something called as forms before the prelims? So it was just a terminal exam before the prelims. And we were asked to, and that was the time, that was the turning point for me as a writer, because we were asked to write either an essay on myself or a short story.
But on yourself could be a short story anyway.
No, but listen.
What is your low self-esteem? I'm not much of a self. I don't know. Go on.
So anyway, so the thing, what happened at that time was, and if you also remember, we used to have Julius Caesar and, Shakespeare back then.
Yeah.
And, their marks came down because of English. You remember in ICSE, but my marks only went up because of the languages, because I was so shit in all the other subjects. So we had our composition, which was like 20 marks, and we had Miss Monica Bose. I don't know if you know Monica Bose, but...
is she like a famous cricketer?
No, she's like
heavyweight
a very
boxing
famous
champion?
teacher. She's a very
Pulitzer
famous teacher.
Prize winner? Nobel Prize winner?
And her level...
Did she discover relativity? Give me a reason why I should know Miss Monica Bose! I don't understand.
She's Scottish.
That's it. Again, it's geography. Mahim ka hai. What the hell, yaar? Unbelievable.
Okay. But her standards were very high in marking us for composition. And if you ever got
This
anything...
is literature professor, is it?
Literature and language.
Huh.
And anything more than 18 on 30 was considered great if Monica Bose marked you. Now, the thing is, I was writing the composition and we were writing the short story. And I don't know whether I was, 15 and full of hormones and,
My God.
So
There's a vulgar angle to this story.
Yes,
Vrushali Telang.
Yes.
My audience is not ready for this. Go on.
So I wrote about, and by then I'd never gone abroad, okay? But I wrote about this love story in World War II.
Oh, nice.
Where the guy comes back to America, and I'm not even set
comes back from an American soldier comes back to America.
Yeah.
And he falls in love with an Axis power.
And Midwest, and in the Midwest.
Okay, so you had some knowledge of America.
And then, and how they make love. And
sex is not geography necessarily.
Listen,
don't bring geography into your sex angle.
And I wrote phrases like, he planted his mouth on hers.
Nice. You're still laughing. It was supposed to be erotic. You're having a hissy fit. I've never had anyone on a podcast who's laughed so much at her own sexual sort of description in a paper.
And something, and just like there was a lot of sex in that short story.
Erotica.
And
D.H. Lawrence of Bombay Scottish.
Monica Bose just ripped me. She's like, you cannot be writing this for ICSE and you'll never get good marks.
She didn't approve of heterosexuality.
Not at all. But then... Sorry.
I don't know. I'm so confused in the world we live in. I don't know anymore.
So I wrote about, how they made love and, and passion and thrusting and all, used words like that.
But
and how she screamed in ecstasy.
No profanity. It was all words like planted a kiss on the mouth and etc. etc.
No, but then she screamed in ecstasy.
No, but that's fine, but it's prose.
Yeah, but
it's sexual in nature, but it's prose. It's very much literature with good, reasonable, sophisticated words.
And and then she just she yelled at me in front of the entire class. She said, "You cannot be writing this." But eventually, she said, "I couldn't stop reading the story."
She got turned on.
And this is my teacher. Please.
I'm so sorry, Miss Bose. I don't mean it that way, but because you didn't like the story, and then you said
you can't be talking like this. Please.
You wrote it.
But you can't be talking like this.
I apologize.
Anyway.
It'll never happen again.
And then out of 30, she gave me 29. And she's like, because
he planted his lips on her mouth and thrust and
she's like, you should think about creative writing. And the only people wwho would actually say, pat me on my back in school were my language teachers, because I only scored on compositions. Nothing else.
Why did they pat you on the back like you're the chaiwala or something?
No, but they were like, this is really good, or your description.
So what you're saying is they were very encouraging and the others weren't.
Because I was a bad student.
Really?
Yeah, I was never good at anything.
Oh, just one question comes to mind. Was there some sort of orgasm in this entire sort of writing?
The story?
Yeah. Was it like, did it go to that level?
Of course. I am saying, no. I'm
that
saying
ecstasy thing was orgasm.
Yeah, she screamed.
Hence
Ecstasy, and he had to plant his palm on her mouth and all of that.
Without having any Indian male lovers, you knew all this? And you're bang on correct? It's
yeah,
amazing.
at that time I didn't have lovers. I wanted lovers, but I didn't
But you
have
made it an American in any case, so it's a little confusing.
And I've never set foot in America at all.
Have you had an American lover?
Never.
Have you had a lover called Bose? Rahul Bose, I'm talking about, the actor. Okay. I don't know why.
What was Rahul doing? I remember you had a thing for Rahul.
He's got an American
girlfriend. You had a thing for Rahul. I remember you used to tease Rahul a lot.
Okay, let's get back to you. We'll talk about all these other people later. Let's get back to you. So, jokes apart, so you wrote this and you broke the record, sort of.
Okay. For me,
everybody was like, how do you get 29 and when 18 Correct. Is like for the last 40 years the only line you can cross. So, obviously, you realized that you touched a chord. With the teacher.
Yeah.
So right or wrong, and whether it was vegetarian or non-vegetarian, the fact of the matter is she felt you had something going for you because she gave you really high marks.
Yeah.
After saying you've crossed the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I thought that, I should fail me.
So that gave you a rush of blood and a sense of confidence, is it?
Yeah. And I was...
Then why the hell did you come to MTV and waste your time?
Actually, how the writing thing happened in MTV, it is because of MTV.
Go slow. So now you're in school still.
Okay.
You're 15 and all this, but you sort of know that you're a writer. You sort of feel that's what you can do, right?
No, I didn't take it too seriously.
What were you going to do?
I had no idea. I was the most clueless person.
But in college, what did you plan to do? When you go to college, what would be the next step? Like, everybody says, okay, I'll do law, engineering.
I definitely knew I wanted to do media, and I wanted to do films.
As in make films?
Start assisting and then... go my...
So you want to be Prahlad Kakkar?
No, I wanted to be like a filmmaker. But my luck in movies was worse than Raveena Tandon's before Mora happened to her.
That was not necessary. Where did that come out of? As your
really
teacher, as Miss Monica Bose, I'm telling you, you've crossed the line here. These are all my friends. Okay.
Sorry.
So, let me not interrupt your flow. So you finished school and which college?
So first I was in Sapphires. Frankly, I changed from Sapphires to Jai Hind because there were no boys. So I went to Jai Hind.
In Sapphires, what was the plan? Arts.
Yeah. It was always arts.
And then all this writing, film,
it was
whatever.
always arts and literature.
So did you get the famous
Jerumulla? Jerumulla was later. Jerumulla is Sophia Polytechnic.
Oh, so you didn't have
that'll happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Please go on. Let me not interrupt.
So I was in Sapphires. And then I got bored because there were no boys. I'm very shallow. So I changed to Jai Hind because my boyfriend was from Sydenham then.
Oh.
By then I had a boyfriend, so then he was in Sydenham.
Has he read your works by then?
I don't know, we are not in touch.
Oh, then did he read the
No, at that
essay?
time I wouldn't write.
What was the essay called, the Bombay Scottish 15-year-old 10th standard essay?
The Unrequited Love or some shit like that.
So not only was it full of sex, it was also, and then you have to be the loser.
Yeah, because, like he leaves her pregnant and all that.
My God, woman, what have you created?
I do, that's
the ideal man. Sorry. So you're in...
I love your sense of humor,
How did you meet Sydenham? How do you meet Mr. Sydenham?
Oh, that was childhood lover and all that. Like, we knew each other since our childhood, so...
But the loving started at what age?
Much later. In college.
Let me get the constitution out and let me check all this. I have no idea.
College. That was in college.
Okay.
Like, love happened. And then I was like, Are yaar, Sapphires bahut lamba hai and, to meet it'll be easier to be in Jai Hind.
Right.
It's very shallow.
For those who live outside Mumbai, it's 4 kilometers away, the colleges. But anyway, this is Mumbai.
But Sydenham and Jai Hind is like, we used to go by train together.
It's 100 yards. So that's, you're really spoiled.
You were in Sydenham, no?
I was in Xavier's.
I
would love to be in Sydenham.
Wow.
But I had to get into Xavier's. My dad's an ex-Xavier. I would use whatever cards. By the way, we can't use these cards anymore. It's all online. You just send your marks.
Oh, shit.
None of us will get in. None of us. I won't have an education. Wow, I'm going to save 5 years. Chalo.
So and then I was in, so I enjoyed my,
So you said you got disillusioned in Sophia.
Not at all.
But you wanted to find boys, you got bored.
Yeah, but that was also the same time that Alok and I can't.
Alok?
I can't take these names. No, please.
I won't take the name again. Did I say Alok?
No, we were married.
I'll give you...
married, yeah, come on.
So what, everybody has a past. What's wrong with you? What kind of writer are you? Suddenly,
I can't
Miss Monica Bose will not approve of this.
So the thing is,
from Sophia?
Yeah, so from Sophia I moved to Jai Hind for very frivolous reasons, like being closer to the boyfriend. But
and you don't even have a Sindhi surname. Is it true you wrote Telangani on the... Telangani on the...
No, at that time I changed my surname. So I was Samant at that time.
What?
Yeah. I You know me as Vrushali Samant. Come on.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You knew me as...
Is there a K before the S in Samant?
Nothing.
Because I'm really confused. I can't remember anything. Okay, let's stay with the story. People are getting confused. You were in Sophia. You switched to Jai Hind, as you say, for frivolous reasons. But I don't think it's frivolous. What the hell? I mean, there are no boys around. What are you going to do with your teenage years?
Absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. Jai Hind, what did you do?
Jai Hind, I did literature. And I enjoyed those 3 years where I studied English literature.
Right.
And I was just happy that every year I was dropping other subjects and, did like a full...
Okay. So who are your favorite writers from
back then?
From your literature course, yeah.
Okay. Rohinton Mistry, always.
Is that why there's so much Parsi influence? Or rather Parsi references? Oh, but it's because you have a lot of Parsi friends also.
Can I tell you something honestly about the Parsi influences? Yeah. So, during 92,
your voice has changed, by the way. We'll have to put ambient music now. It's almost like it's a dark moonlit night, dark bangla ke samne. And then, okay, sorry.
So I grew up with a lot of Parsis, okay?
And now they're missing.
No.
You mean, insensitive person. Are you saying we're extinct? When you were young, there were many, and now look around, they're not there.
In Bombay Scottish, I grew up with a lot of Parsis.
Who are not there.
And in 92, 93, okay?
My
when
God.
the Hindus and Muslims were fighting.
Oh, okay.
And, so my mum was explaining
so now we don't even get into the story. Because the big groups are fighting.
No, my question to my mum was, so she was saying, okay, Hindus and Muslims and this and that.
Yeah.
So I said, Mama, but what about the Parsis? I thought they were in the majority because they were in a majority in my school.
The Hindus and the Muslims hate each other and the Parsis are complex because nobody knows who they are. No one's hating them.
No, my question was, my mum said, because these are the two major majorities of India. I said, but Mama, what about the Parsis? That was my question in standard 10 to my mother because I thought the Parsis
were... So you know about sex and American soldiers, but you didn't know that a tribe you grew around was a small, dwindling amount of people. Okay, and I'm just trying to understand this whole thing.
No,
amazing,
but, Look, Pagzad Nasirabad Wala was my first friend.
You can say this name, but when I mentioned Aloknath the actor, you said no.
He's my friend,
He never graduated to beyond friendship. He never became a soldier, so to speak. He never put his hand on mouths for no reason whatsoever, or left a girl pregnant and ran off to Iran to find his roots.
He's such a sweet boy, yeah.
Is he married?
Yeah, he is.
Does he have kids?
I don't know.
Does he have Parsi kids?
No, he's married to a Parsi.
So they have kids. You're not sure about that?
I'm not very sure now.
But they're married without kids. What do they have, furniture?
How would I know?
This is not making sense.
This was in school.
They married in school?
No, he's my friend from school. So yeah, I saw some pictures of him getting married.
Okay. We're losing the thread of our whole story.
So yeah, Rohinton Mistry was my favorite author. And then because of Rohinton Mistry, I started reading Bapsi Sidhwa. And
Pakistani
yes.
writer also. No?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay, we have to take a break. Lots of Parsis are calling in. They want to touch base with you again. Okay, from Bombay Scottish. What is the batch? The year you passed out?
92-93.
Batch of 92-93. Bombay Scottish. Shout out to Vrushali Samant. Now Telang.
Yes.
All right. We'll come back in a sec.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
And we're back. I love these breaks. Only we're laughing though. How do we explain it? All right, let's first finish the story. The storyline is important. So Rohinton Mistry, those kind of writers were there. So you liked Indian writers a lot?
Absolutely.
Huh? You're not one of those
no.
racist Indians who like Indian writers, yuck.
No, but I like Rohinton Mistry.
That's me.
He's one of my favorite writers. Tales from Firozshah Bagh is one of my all-time favorite.
Who wrote Dungarji House? Same guy?
No, he didn't write Dungarji House. Okay. He did not write.
Bapsi Sidhwa books?
I'm forgetting titles right
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm forgetting titles. Okay. But okay. So what happened with Tales from Firozshah Bagh was that it's my go-to book. So I keep reading.
It's like the almanac.
So even when my mum died, I took a chapter from the book and I was reading it the next day. It's, so if I'm really
like a spiritual
low,
sort of connection.
I don't know what the connection
is.
I don't know what the connection is, but I have some connection. I read it practically every year. And it's something I just keep reading, rereading, and that is what He Loves Me Not was about. So after I finished reading that book, I told my friend Dilnaz Hira Manik, I shut the book because we were in class while the class was going on and I was reading the book. And I shut the book and I told Dilnaz Hira Manik that one day I'm going to write a book with Parsi protagonists. So like a typical Parsi, she turned around and she said,
how dare you?
Sala Ghatia.
Which is, for Gopal, who's been sitting and suffering in the studio with us, Sala Ghatia is basically how dare you only. It's nothing more than that. Yeah. So, sorry to interrupt again, but so you're in college. Let's just go back to college for a second. In Jai Hind, and you're studying literature, but then your life took another path. Because how do you land in music channels and all? How did that happen?
Because I told you my luck was shit in films.
So you actually worked in a film company?
No, whichever
Subhash Ghai called you for an audition? It's something that I need to know?
In fact, nothing worked out. So okay.
Bombay Scottish had a lot of filmy types, right?
It did.
Your Abhisheks and your John Abrahams and all of Bombay Scottish. So didn't you have any filmy connections to your
I didn't really.
Batches here and there?
No, I didn't have any connections. And I didn't even make any connections consciously, no.
Yeah, because your friends were all Parsis, none of them were in the industry at that point, yeah. But John was half Parsi, if that helped.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But at that time, he was dating somebody else.
Listen, we'll run out of time. I want to talk about the books. So stop talking so much and get to the point. I want to quickly talk about MTV. Okay. Let's do the books first, then we'll give a little time to MTV at the end. Okay, so we'll fast forward. Now, just because that's the way we make our films. We're jump cut. We're going straight to your career post-MTV. You get married. Am I right?
No, that was during MTV. I got married.
Okay, the stress was too much. You got married. And how did you get the guts to say, okay, I'm going to write a book, or was it just something you did?
It was just something that I did because I was peddling my screenplay around for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then one day I got an offer to write a shit TV show. And I started crying because I told my husband this is not what I left MTV for. I was happier doing Loveline than writing Ranveer Rano.
Loveline may have been nonsense in many ways, but at least it was straight up.
No, but Loveline was so much fun. Cheeto Chat was so much fun. I mean, I honed my skills. Frankly, I honed my skills for humor.
Working with the
listening to you.
Scum of society.
No.
The worst technicians. Russell Pupati, for example. That moron now has an Oscar and we are responsible for it. This is the same man who stopped our shoot for no reason. Shoelace. Once he told me shoelace. I said, but you're a sound guy. What's he got to do? Shoelace doesn't make any sound. That yell trip. I said, no. Until today, there's some American actor, some big shot who he's working with, let's say DiCaprio, and he's like, DiCaprio! Shoelace. It's a lovemaking scene, right in the middle of that. And suddenly you hear a Malayali voice going, shoelace. All right, sorry. Back to you.
Working with you, and one of the reasons why I used to love working with you on Loveline was because I would
changed my shot in 5 seconds.
No, I used to get to hear the rushes. And because I had to do like the rough cut. And I used to enjoy doing the rough cut. So that's where I learned humor. Punchlines. And,
not from Malaika?
Not from Sophie.
Not from Sophie. Today, Sophie is the highest paid stand-up act west side of Nebraska, from what I gathered. But she only does the across the Atlantic. So
I would keep listening to you at that point in time. And that's where I learned humor.
Off-camera stuff that was going on.
Let me talk.
I'm so sorry.
You're not letting me. That's where it kind of started. Karthik Chintamani, of course, did not let me do any humorous shows back then. Though I told him that, let me do...
Karthik Chintamani sends an apology note for being Karthik Chintamani. I have it with me somewhere. He's now been... I think he's in Southeast Asia somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Under house arrest.
I have no... I think in Malaysia, I think.
Yeah, he's in Malaysia, where some 4 women have filed cases against him for promises and not delivering.
Like the soldier.
Something like the soldier. Except that he puts his hand on his own mouth. Because he keeps saying the wrong thing. All right, listen.
Okay.
I want to talk about the writing because that's really why we called you here.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
In the sense,
I have some very interesting stories about primetime crime because it was totally like mummy writes.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. But very quickly, how did the first book happen? You said you were doing this TV show. You weren't happy writing for the TV show. What the hell? Sometimes people think their lives reach their nadir or their worst point.
Correct.
Was it the point where you think I'm a creative person, I'm stuck here? What the hell is this show?
Yeah, no. So what happened at that time is again, my first novel has to go back to MTV because I was leaving MTV and I was really very happy. And Priyanka Bangia called me up.
As in you left by choice?
I left by choice. Okay. Obviously, I left by choice.
All right.
So this was when the major exodus happened in 2005. So
what exodus happened in 2000?
They kept
they sacked a lot of people in one day?
That was in 7.
Man, you remember dates?
Absolutely.
I remember laughing.
So when I was leaving in 2005, and I was really happy. You remember Priyanka Bangia?
Of course, quite pretty.
Yes.
Didn't David Polycarp have a big crush on her? David Polycarp, if you're out there, I'm sorry to divulge all this, but I remember you getting very angry every time we drank alcohol and I stood next to Priyanka. Sometimes I would just go stand next to her, violate proximity to irritate him.
So she said the worst thing. You know what she called? And we're friends. And she calls me up. And she says, babe, will you come on a makeover show? So I said, what are you talking about? So I said, I don't want to produce shows anymore. I'm tired of producing shows. So she's like, no, you will be the star on the makeover show.
As in front of camera?
Yeah. So we'll make you lose weight. We'll do your hair. We'll do this.
That's like a backhanded sort of insult compliment thing.
And I'm like
you're not good looking, we'll make you good looking, right?
And I said, okay, fine. So my wardrobe needs to be worked on. My weight needs to be worked on. So what am I bringing to the table? Your personality. And you speak good English. You speak good English. So that, I said, why don't I use that material and write my first novel? So that's why Can't Die for Size Zero happened.
Yes, that's right. It was a woman with this whole size issues and all that.
Size issues and basically everyone trying to tell her how she needs to look a certain way. And then the entire journey of
self. Did you get that a lot also?
Absolutely, all the time. All the time.
And this Priyanka Bangia was not a one-off.
No. People would keep saying.
I don't know why people come and say that. Why don't you try this? You lose weight. Why don't you try this? You'll become better. Everyone tries to better other people. Why do we do that?
But the thing is, the best part is I made money because of that. That in retrospect. So I wrote that, and the book did really well. And thank you so much for launching it and doing the book.
I launched it?
Yes, you did.
I launched it.
Yes.
Do you remind me? At Churchgate.
Oxford.
Churchgate, Oxford.
Correct.
Geography is your thing. I'm struggling to put it together. You're so good. Mahim, Worley, boom. मैं क्या करता हूँ? I have to Google. Churchgate में एक दुकान है. उसके अंदर book.
Oxford. Yeah.
Of course, he's not doing so well. Oxford. At that time, it was doing really well. No, it's there. We use it to pee.
I thought
it's a place to pee. No.
Anyway, so it did really well.
But what will bookshops do? Quickly, Vrushali, now you bring that up. Bookshops are finished. Everybody goes online and no one sits the way my generation sat in a bookstore and killed time. I for the AC, others to actually read books. That's all gone.
Yeah.
So now every bookshop has to have a food and a beverage thing going. Otherwise, so you're not a reader, you're an eater. That's the key. I'm a good eater. Let's go to a bookshop. It's like that. It's amazing.
So the book did really well without me doing all the Nachi Mayuri on social media because I really didn't.
And without being a celebrity of that sort, some of these other celebrities write books. They get a lot of publicity, etc., etc.
So it did well, and then I was called to write a column on Marie Claire called "Big Girl in a Skinny World." So I had great fun doing that as well.
For me, Marie Claire's
it's a fashion magazine,
which I would love to read one day. This is one of the Cosmopolitan, one of those things where women say 20 reasons to make your man orgasm. And,
correct.
How to know your husband's cheating on you on Tuesday.
And then what happened is that when I was writing, so basically when I had my first novel, I also had my baby. So what happens is...
You really multitask. Can you imagine? Left hand typing, right hand pull out the baby, baby on the bed, finish.
Literally, it actually happened like that because novel came out and 3 weeks later, baby came out.
What are you saying?
Seriously.
Husband does nothing? I mean, he helped make the baby, didn't he? And the novel as well?
No.
It's all his work?
No, it's not his work, but he brings home the bacon. So
and you bounce ideas off him, so you should give him 5%.
No, I don't do anything.
Nothing?
Nothing.
So he just brings home the bacon.
Yeah, he makes the money, I write.
You need a male nurse and a sponsor. You don't need a husband.
He makes the money and I write.
Okay.
It's a very clear equation.
Okay.
Then what happened is, So the life of a novelist and early motherhood is very similar. There is a lot of isolation. So there's a lot of time to think. And I said, Haila, there was this one script that even Baman had liked.
Why did you
Parsi
sound like
script.
Sachin when you said that? You keep throwing me off course here. I can't get my game in place.
Because I have Maharashtrian genes.
So, when you want it, you're Maharashtrian. When you want, otherwise you're Bombay Scottish. Then in the middle you're bloody Parsi from somewhere.
I'm a wannabe Parsi because the Parsi
and you're
say you
always
can never be us.
Raju guide who's moving around the city showing me things.
But I keep walking around the city and I click pictures and all. Anyway, forget that.
God, you're nuts. Without narcotics, this is what you've done. So the first novel did well. You're a mother and you find that it's a twin feed.
Yes. And then I realized that, there was a script that I was taking around and actors like Baman were interested and Anupam were interested and there were people who were interested. It just didn't see the light of day. So I converted that screenplay into my second novel, which was He Loves Me Not, which is based in a Parsi milieu. It was something that I wanted to.
And that would be romantic genre?
Yeah. That is
the first one is what? We call it a?
That's a chick lit.
A chick lit.
Yeah.
But sort of romantic genre also. And this is romantic genre.
Completely humorous romance and stuff.
Was it well received?
It was. The Parsiana said it's a brilliant book considering she's not a Parsi.
They shouldn't talk too much because most people writing about Parsis now will be non-Parsis. Just a maths here.
I got some very good reviews like, the Bawa Blockbuster.
Here's the big question, Bawa Blockbusters apart. Who launched your book and why was I not called?
You did.
The second one?
Yeah.
I was there for the second one also?
You were there for the second one.
Okay, that's it. I need a doctor. Once we finish this program, I have to go and get myself checked.
You and Kunal.
Oh, so now it's a compromise. Okay.
No.
Where was it?
You and Kunal. Oxford.
We're back in Oxford. Our lives have gone nowhere. Back in Oxford. I came to pee. You say book launch. That fellow's always standing there. It's too hot. Nobody's reading. Okay.
So that happened. Okay. And then I said, Haila, I have another screenplay that didn't see the light of day, which I was again taking around and stuff like that, which people were interested in. So that was Primetime Crime, and I said that if I'm writing a mafia story, and I read the book. I read the script, I read the script that I had written, and there was a director on board who had asked me to make changes.
Who?
No. And
Alok?
No. So he had asked me to make changes, and when I read the novel, and by now it's like, say, 2006 to, say,
Who's
2012. Listen now, 2006 to 2012. So, and 2 novels old.
He gave you 6 years to make changes.
Listen, so by then, even I have grown as a writer.
Well, I would think so. 6 bloody years. The kid must have grown.
That was like Mumbai noir, okay? Mumbai mafia. And there were chopper shots in New York. That's how my film opened.
The damn American soldier hangs over us like a cloud.
I said, thank God it didn't get made and thank God these changes.
No wonder the director said make changes. They just looked at it and said, I don't have budget.
No, he asked me to put chopper shots in New York.
Who's this guy?
No, I'm not going to tell you the name.
Okay, I'll name directors and you cough loudly.
No.
Rohan Sippy?
No.
Rohit Shetty?
No. Let's get
old or young?
Very old.
Karan?
Let's get
very old.
No, but and not
very old.
Not very famous either. Not very famous. Yeah, I didn't have any contacts in Bollywood.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so when I read it, I realized that there was a great lacuna, and I had to do shitloads of research.
You rewrote.
As in, I just tore that apart, and I just completely started doing hardcore research. So I was doing research on Bombay Mafia. And it was good enough for, so and that's how I got even Daddy.
Milton's Paradise Lost was a similar story. You start from scratch. You wrote the whole damn thing, 10,000 pages, and lost it or burnt it.
So it's basically a love story between a crime reporter and a gangster set against the backdrop of Mumbai in 1999. And I realized that I had to do a lot of research on everything, on crime reporters. So I started speaking to crime reporters. I started speaking to city historians, to cops, and stuff like that. And because I didn't want people to read the book and say,
because of the J-Day murder?
No, it has nothing to do with the J-Day murder. And it was very difficult to get leads and difficult, to make people talk to me. But I kind of persevered.
So Vrushali, there's no one genre. From what I gather, love is always there, but love is, around
love,
everywhere.
Again, love.
What I mean is, so you've gone to 3 very, very different sort of explorations in your 3 books, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And this third one is also very far away from the other two in terms of the kind of people you're looking at also.
Yeah.
You're looking at hardcore criminals and trying to find humanizing them a little bit, I presume, and then trying to find links with real society, and it's an interesting book. So that means there's no one type for you.
No,
you're not like a crime novelist. You're not a romantic novelist. You're not a chick lit novelist. You're not a.
I'm a very hard chakra person. So
what the hell does that mean?
So I just go by whatever it comes very intuitively to me.
Oh, okay.
I don't decide.
So spontaneous is what you're
saying. Absolutely.
Okay, so you're like an infant. No, I'm just kidding.
A child, yeah.
Listen. So this is tremendous. What's next?
I'm working. So basically, social media has changed the way we love, and I really want to explore that.
As in porn?
Okay, I can be in, say, for instance, I could be with my mother-in-law. Okay, doing.
My porn's gone.
Listen now.
You can't set it up like that.
You cut me short.
But what the?
I'm coming to the porn.
I said porn.
I'm coming to the
Vrushali,
porn.
the people listening are now listening again. They're gone to sleep with the gangster. They're back here. They're back here. And then you say mother-in-law. And I lost him again.
No, listen to me.
Now what do I do?
I can be with my mother-in-law, taking care of her.
Don't keep saying mother-in-law!
Sex with another guy in Dehradun.
But your
on
visual,
WhatsApp.
the visual is the mother-in-law's in the visual. Men can't handle it. We're very touchy.
Mother-in-law is here, but I am on WhatsApp and I can have phone sex with somebody in Dehradun.
Yes. But can't you say you're with this Miss model from Jamaica and you're trying to now have phone sex in the other room? Then the men will be like, yeah, that's interesting. Multitasking. But the moment you say mother-in-law, Miss Jamaica nullifies that and it becomes zero again.
WhatsApp has changed the way we love. So now I can do one thing.
It definitely changes the way I look at my mother-in-law. That's for sure. That's completely changed.
So you can have phone sex with somebody else.
No! I can't in the same sentence. She's not understanding here.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. And
is it a titillating novel?
Slightly.
Nice. We'll sell it that way, don't worry. Why not?
And
You're quite a bindas girl, let's face it.
Oh yeah, and then I'm also working on Hot Auntie. Because I realized that...
Hot Auntie?
When 40 gets
Now
naughty.
You've got our attention again. You will not bring other relatives into it. You'll check with me before you bring them in. Go on.
So, Hot Auntie is, I think sex is a great equalizer. Okay, sex and food are great equalizers, which is why Kunal gets along with everybody. So
because he's good at sex? This is worse than a mother-in-law. When you mentioned Kunal, it's worse than a mother-in-law. I have now given up on sex.
No, everyone loves
I'm
Kunal.
now brahmacharya. I'm a brahmacharya because of you and two sentences.
So I'm working on
mother-in-law, Kunal. The worst two sentences. I can't equate it now anymore.
No, I'm saying that sex and food are great equalizers. Yeah.
Okay.
So
what
would a Monica from Pali Hill, Altaf from
that. Bring level ground for everyone is what you're saying. We all like a biryani, for example, and we come from 17 different cultures.
Yeah. So this is about like a socialite.
Okay.
Yeah. And what would she be doing?
And we all want to sleep with her.
Everyone...
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know.
It's your story.
It's Hot Auntie. So it's about 40 getting naughty.
I love Hot Auntie.
Yeah.
I love this novel. You don't write more than 3 pages, I'll still buy it.
So it's
but
like,
don't mention the...
So it's like a Bhosle from Khar police station and an
Again! You are going in the wrong direction, dear.
But that is what I'm
your market. When it comes to porn, just check with me. Okay, I'm your market. I will not like you.
But that is Hot Auntie, no? So but
you went into a police station and all these are all things which don't turn me on.
But it's a crime comedy. Hot Auntie is a crime comedy.
Nakabandi is the worst 2 words in the English language for me.
Hot Auntie is a crime. It's a crime comedy.
It's a crime comedy.
So what would somebody like? So
by day she's a police person.
No, it's just that she gets entangled with these people, by default. And then she realizes that, she's having the best sex of her life, which she
based on Shivaji Sadam's character in CID?
No.
I watched with the sound off, so it's possible that this is the whole thing and I've not picked it up.
So she's, someone who's...
It's the mother-in-law. It's got to you, hasn't it? See?
No.
It's a disease.
It's someone who's been dumped by a husband for not having kids. And, and then why and how does she land up with this gangster and this cop? And she realizes that she's having the best sex of her life. And that being dumped was the best thing.
Savita Babi sort of...
No, it's not Savita Babi. It's Hot Auntie.
Yeah, but it's the same twin thing that you are one thing and then you're another thing. The same conservative, Bahu type,
No, but she's not conservative.
No, but I'm just saying it goes from one end of the spectrum to the other and then you become this hot, in your face, liberal.
So I'm just trying to get into, from a South Bombay or a Bandra person.
Again, you and your geography. Yeah,
Listen, to Madanpura, to Khar.
Okay.
Just
as
trying
you said, sex and food will be a great equalizer. So after a point, it doesn't matter where they come from because that takes over.
Yes.
The love for one or the other.
Yes.
Sometimes both. What would you choose, food or sex?
Sex.
Damn it. Why do all women say the same thing and then run away? All right, Vrushali, we've run out of time, but we have the AMAs coming up, and we'll go into that, but we're going to get you back for your next novel, which will be out when?
Hopefully, if everything goes well by Feb. would be my next novel.
By Feb, or if there's 2019 elections, we'll take a break for that and then come back with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, 250
I've always been a great fan.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
You were the producer.
No, but I was a fan. I used to be just listening.
You used to get angry with me so often.
I never got angry.
No, that's true.
I
can't remember really.
I never got angry.
Five producers have hit me physically. 4 were women. So
who was the man who hit?
Mishti, Vasant.
Vasant hit you?
Vasant and I had a full fight. They had to pull us off.
Really?
Well, you're looking at women at the airport and saying how pretty they are. We're discussing body parts and all.
Who, Vasant?
Vasant. Then I just asked him about his wife. And then suddenly became wife, mother, off topic and all that.
Really? Yeah, Vasant?
Yeah. He got really angry. He attacked me with those big hands of his like a gorilla. I was in a lot of trouble. And then, he's got this strong Delhi accent, Malayali bad words. So it's tough to pick up his abuse.
Hey, Sajid's films are doing really well.
Really?
Yeah. His documentary.
Oh, documentary. All right, cheers. Listen, we'll get him on and we'll talk about him. This is about you. Vrushali, the book is called?
Prime Time Crime.
Prime Time Crime. We'll be back with the AMAs.
So it's been another great week on IVM Podcast, just like it is every week. If you aren't following us on social media, you should. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Send us a message, send us a comment. Let us know what you think about the stuff that we're doing and the stuff that you're listening to. This week on Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by writer Vrushali Telang. She speaks about jumping from TV to books and her memories of producing Mtv Loveline. On the Scene and the Unseen, Amit is joined by founder-editor of The Wire, Siddharth Bhatia, and senior editor of The Hindu, Peter Griffin. They discuss the current state of Indian media and the role of journalists today. This week, Indranil Guha, co-founder of FinPech, talks to Anupam on Paisa Vaisa about alpha SIPs. Last week on Know Your Kanun, lawyer and host Amber Rana took us through the history and scope of Section 497 and the time when adultery was first recognized as an offense. On the Kinetic Living podcast, Urmi spoke to IVM's co-founder Kavita Rajwade about her love for functional training, food, and the morning workout routine that she strictly follows. And again, guys, I just really want to remind you, the best way to spread the word about podcasting is you. You're our ambassadors. Please go out and tell a friend. Ask them to listen to something that you have enjoyed and that you think that they would enjoy as well. And with that, let's move on with your show.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
All right. We're with Vrushali, of course, writer, ex-producer, MTV, TV sort of personality. And we also have an actor par excellence, 4-time National Award winner for Tere Naam. Have you seen it? Salman Khan film. Where Salman was the best actor, clearly. Second best was Gopal Dutt Tiwari, who now likes to only go by Dutt.
Yeah.
And because that's because of passport issues.
It was always Gopal Dutt.
He's a man from Uttarakhand who comes to Mumbai and tries to get a passport with 3 names. For 4 years, they made him circle the block. Finally, we dropped 1 name. Yeah. Gopal is on his way to a dubbing. He works with us on the week that wasn't. And of course, he's huge at TVF. He's huge across the internet. And he's got a film called Side Hero, which is
a series.
Sorry, it's a series which should have been a film because it's too bloody long. Which is on right now with Kunal Roy Kapoor and directed by Rohan Sippy.
Yeah.
Now, I can't give you more than that.
I think that's enough.
Yeah. So Abbas is our producer, stand-up comedian, also stand-up comedian. Have you seen him?
Hi.
No. He's going to be big.
Oh,
I mean, he's big, but he's going to be big in the business.
Great.
And you fat shame me in every episode.
How can I fat shame you? I'm 91 kilos of debatable.
It doesn't count. It's on radio. So.
No, it's not even. हम तो radio के नीचे हैं. We have to one day reach radio.
It's just the audio medium. I mean,
you understand the caste system? You're from the north. We are below. Yeah.
Okay. First question comes from Rahul. He says, "Hi."
I know him.
No, not
I
that.
Don't think it's the same.
Oh, it's not that Rahul.
Yeah, he does listen though. Just doesn't respond. Yeah.
Hi Cyrus, congratulations on 300 episodes. What are your thoughts about the members of the Flat Earth Society who think that the Earth is flat and not oblong or sphere?
Include some rappers, famous rappers as well. So ये theory क्या है?
Flat Earth Society.
Yeah. So they basically.
I recently read somewhere that Flat Earth Society, we have members around the globe.
I think that answers it. We won't go above that. That's it. 6 runs. No, I would only ask one question as a Mumbaikar, since that's a geography issue, Vrushali always. And he's now a Mumbaikar, Gopal.
Absolutely.
Abbas born and bred where he likes it here. So for us, we don't really care whether it's flat or round. We just want some earth. Because there's just not space.
Yeah.
I would like to start give me some earth.
Yeah. Then we'll see whether it's flat or
exactly.
round.
Yeah. These Americans and their problems. So it goes back to the soldier that Vrushali Bengali created. Which fell in love with an Indian girl. Yeah.
Okay, Kedar asks, hi Cyrus, hi. Amit, Abbas and team. Why are the ceiling fans in movies and TV shows always rotating at a very slow speed?
Excellent observation. आप बताइए sir, आप तो film journalist हो, so it's a true observation, especially 70s.
I'm not a fan of Hindi movies, so I can't.
No, but come on, let's put our heads together. It's always slow.
Yeah, let's think about it.
Easier to shoot, no?
I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you, to save power, because they've got this power issues everywhere.
Yeah.
They basically put the fan near a windy area and just allow it to blow on its own.
Yeah. It's not running.
No, it is a very
Vrushali, and that's why at MTV I was not given conveyance. Because you guys want to save money all the time. But tell us from your side, the producer side, how do you save money?
Kedar, na?
Yes,
Kedar. Kedar is very well. To think about all this.
I think it's an excellent observation. Yeah, I like it.
No, it's symbolic. It's symbolic.
That's a love-making scene.
That the fan going round and round, I think it's
symbolic of what?
Time.
That the earth is round?
No.
I've
not seen it a lot in films too. Your observation.
No, I think his observation is not just about cutting to a ceiling fan going slow, which could be a metaphor for something, but to have it in the background when a dialogue is going on. So it's like Amitabh Bachchan versus Dilip Kumar in Shakti, and on the top there's a slow moving fan going. Now what the hell is that doing? Is it like an adjudicator, referee, that kind of thing?
I used to think it's a frame rate issue, isn't it? Like it's distracting in the background. And every film set in India needs to have the AC off, so I guess the fan adds to the sound.
And you think Kedar will be interested in this answer?
or if there's no background worth looking at, just put the fan on slowly, people get distracted. That's a good idea.
Okay.
We should try
people
it.
People won't think about the script or story.
And realize there's no plot. Yeah, damn.
Alright, so, 1 second.
Take your time. Kedar, in the meantime, we are looking at the fan. You should do the same.
Shan Marshall asks...
Cheyenne, probably.
It's S-H-A-N.
It's a fake call.
Shan Marshall.
Shan Marshall.
He asks, Cyrus is a huge fan of Seinfeld. Who could you relate yourself the most with? George, Jerry, Cosmos, or the Soup Nazi?
No, Soup Nazi is just 3 episodes. But I definitely would think of Jason Alexander's character, George. Because I've lied a lot in my life, and I just think he's a perpetual liar. One of my favorite moments in Seinfeld is when he takes the job of the New York Yankees and doesn't know what he's doing. So he's trying to ask people in lower floor, upper floor, if they know what he's doing. That's so Indian. MTV. That's so Indian. When you think about bureaucratic job and all that, you don't really know what you're doing, but sometimes you need to find out. So you have to ask somebody 20 years in the business. That's MTV, actually. Yeah.
Me and MTV.
Me and MTV. Come on.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, since you guys are talking about...
Let's go around the room. What about you? Are you a Seinfeld fan?
Not really.
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
No.
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
Yes.
So who do you choose? Seinfeld or... Kramer the racist. Well, that's the actor.
Yeah, that's the actor.
Michael Richards. Okay. All right. But he's too over the top. I like his character, but Jason Alexander's character is a real one. He's the loser that we all... Like Kunal, me, like you were before TVF.
Okay, last question. Since you guys are talking about MTV, Lavanya asked that on the 300th episode, you had Malaika and Nikhil. You spoke about all MTV VJs, but you did not speak about Ramona. Did things go sour?
We forgot.
Did things go sour?
Not at all. Not at all. There's so many that we didn't talk about. The shorter careers and, didn't come to mind immediately. Ramona, great fun. Tried to pataw her a little bit and all that, but didn't work, I must say. She was with David? Why are you whispering? It's an audio show. Vrushali is an audio show. We can pick it up. My engineer here just has to enhance your sound. It's not like it's not recorded. It's recorded. It's just soft. Yeah. What does that mean?
She's with David.
Ek aur take mila hai bhai. Put the ceiling fan faster for this one. Yeah. So Ramona, lovely girl. But then she got married in the middle of a thing and went to Switzerland and became a waitress in her husband's restaurant. But then she came back. So now she's working in the business again. But she's with David.
No, she's not with David.
Is she with David?
No.
Okay. We should do a show. Everybody will want David on the show now. Between Pooja Bangia and this and that. And David, if you meet him, is Mr. Perfect, isn't he? Who, me?
He's like Mr. Darcy.
Yeah. Really?
No. Okay. Let's not go
tall, dark, mysterious.
Let's not go there.
All right. We're not going there. Bhai,
okay.
Fan band kar. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. If you have any questions, write to us online and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Every week comes a show where three people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM Podcast app to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.
Give me a word. या कोई भी लाइन. कुछ भी हो सकता है यार. क्या कहा आपने? टोपी. Okay. Mohan Joshi hated wearing topis. He felt suffocated in them. टोपी पहनते ही उसे स्कूल की याद आती थी. Where of course he had no choice but to wear a टोपी. But जिस दिन पास आउट हुआ, उसी दिन उसने अपनी टोपी का bonfire बना दिया. And since then, he'd never worn a cap or a hat. ना कड़कती धूप में, and not even to बचो from the ठंडी. But from Monday 26th February, Mohan Joshi had to wear a topi all the time. Why? Because if he didn't, everyone around him knew exactly वो क्या सोच रहा था. They knew that he was wondering how the girl in the yellow churidar would look बिना कपड़े के. They knew when he was calling the boss a sadela टमाटर. They knew everything. पर ये सब हुआ कैसे? अरे भाई, यही तो स्टोरी है. और ये स्टोरी आप ही ने मुझे दिया by giving me the starting word. यही तो है The Croc's Tales. Words आपके, कहानी आपके लिए. Catch the stories on Monday and Thursday on the IVM website, app, and anywhere you get your podcast from. See you soon.